Hi, today we'll study the third chapter of history, that is, an empire across three continents. In this video, we will study the 3rd century crisis, gender roles in Roman Empire, literacy in Roman Empire, economic expansion in Roman Empire, and controlling of slaves and workers. Let us first study the 3rd century crisis. From the 230s, the Roman Empire found itself fighting on several fronts simultaneously. In Iran, an aggressive dynasty emerged in 225. They were called as the Sasanians, and within just 15 years, it expanded rapidly in the direction of the Euphrates. Shapur I, the Iranian ruler, claimed he had annihilated a Roman army of 60,000 and even captured the eastern capital of Antioch. Meanwhile, a whole series of Germanic tribes, or rather tribal confederacies, began to move against the Rhine and Danube frontiers, and the whole period from 233 to 280 saw repeated invasions. The Romans were forced to abandon much of the territory beyond the Danube. The rapid succession of emperors in the 3rd century, 25 emperors in 47 years, is an obvious symptom of the strains faced by the empire in this period. Gender roles in Roman Empire. One of the more modern features of Roman society was the widespread prevalence of the nuclear family. Adult sons did not live with their families, and it was exceptional for adult brothers to share a common household. On the other hand, slaves were included in the family. The typical form of marriage was one where the wife did not transfer to her husband's authority but retained full rights in the property of her father's family. While the woman's dowry went to the husband for the duration of the marriage, the woman remained a primary heir of her father and became an independent property owner on her father's death. Marriages were generally arranged, and there is no doubt that women were often subject to domination by their husbands. Whereas males married in their late 20s or early 30s, women were married off in the late teens or early 20s, so there was an age gap between husband and wife, and this would have encouraged a certain inequality. Divorce was relatively easy and needed no more than a notice of intent to dissolve the marriage by either husband or wife. On the other hand, Augustine, the great Catholic bishop, tells us that his mother was regularly beaten by his father and that most other wives in the small town where he grew up had similar bruises to show. Finally, fathers had substantial legal control over their children. Sometimes to a shocking degree, For example, a legal power of life and death in exposing unwanted children by leaving them out in the cold to die. Literacy in Roman Empire. It is certain that rates of casual literacy varied greatly between different parts of the empire. For example, in Pompeii, which was buried in a volcanic eruption in 79 CE, there is strong evidence of widespread casual literacy. Walls on the main streets of Pompeii often carried advertisements, and graffiti were found all over the city. By contrast, in Egypt, where hundreds of papyri survive, most formal documents, such as contracts, were usually written by professional scribes, and they often tells us that X or Y is unable to read and write. But even here literacy was certainly more widespread among certain categories such as soldiers, army officers, and estate managers. Plurality of languages that were spoken in Roman Empire. They were Aramaic, Coptic, Punic, Berber, and Celtic. But many of these linguistic cultures were purely oral, at least until a script was invented for them. Among the above mentioned languages, Armenian began to be written as late as the 5th century. Economic expansion in Roman Empire. The empire had a substantial economic infrastructure of harbors, mines, quarries, brickyards, olive oil factories, etc. Wheat, wine, and olive oil were traded and consumed in huge quantities, and they came mainly from Spain, the Gallic provinces, North Africa, Egypt, and to a lesser extent Italy, where conditions were best for these crops. Liquids like wine and olive oil were transported in containers called amphorae. The fragments and shards of very large number of these survive, and it has been possible for archaeologists to reconstruct the precise shapes of these containers. Spanish producers succeeded in capturing markets for olive oil from their Italian counterparts. This would only have happened if Spanish producers supplied better quality oil at lower prices. The empire included many regions that had a reputation for exceptional fertility. Italy, Sicily, Egypt, and southern Spain were all among the most densely settled or wealthiest parts of the empire. The best kinds of wine, wheat, olive oil came mainly from numerous estates of these territories. On the other hand, large Roman territories were in a much less advanced state. The pastoral and semi-nomadic communities were often on the move, carrying their oven-shaped huts with them. As Roman estates expanded in North Africa, the pastures of those communities were drastically reduced and their movements more tightly regulated. Diversified applications of water power around the Mediterranean as well as advances in water-powered milling technology, the use of hydraulic mining techniques in the Spanish gold and silver mines, and the gigantic industrial scale on which those mines worked. The existence of well-organized commercial and banking networks and the widespread use of money are all indications of Roman economy. Controlling of slaves and workers. Slavery was an institution deeply rooted in the ancient world, both in the Mediterranean and in the Near East, and Christianity, when it emerged as a state religion, seriously challenged this institution. Under Augustus, there were still 3 million slaves in a total Italian population of 7.5 million. Slaves were an investment, and at least one Roman agricultural writer advised landowners against using them because their health would be damaged by malaria. On the other hand, if the Roman upper classes were often brutal towards their slaves, ordinary people did sometimes show much more compassion. As warfare became less widespread with the establishment of peace in the first century, the supply of slaves declined. The users of slave labor thus had to turn either to slave breeding or to cheaper substitutes such as wage labor, which was more easily dispensable. In fact, free labor was extensively used on public works at Rome because an extensive use of slave labor would have been too expensive. Slaves had to be fed and maintained throughout the year, which increased the cost of holding this kind of labor. Thank you.